So welcome to the next slide or next lecture, that is lecture number 12 in petrochemical technology, uh, solvent deoiling process. So in the previous lecture we come to know about the wax sweetening process. So this is the process into which we are removing the oil that is present into the wax, and again in the that is this is another process of deoiling, means removing of the oil from the wax. So you can see this process diagram. I have explained this in more detail how this de-oiling process is happening. So if you talk about the slack wax, in the wax stock for refined wax manufacture, this generally contains up to 30% of oil, and this can be considered to made up of three components. The first one is oil, soft wax and hard wax. So that 30% oil that wax contains, that is manufactured from these three product, that is oil, soft wax and hard wax. So this oil contains these three components, and we are going to remove these components from the wax, and we are going to collect the pure wax into this process. So you see, the solvent deoiling process aims at separating the oil and soft wax from the hard wax using volatile solvents such as MEK and MIBK. So we are using a solvent extraction method, and where we are using the two type of solvent, that is MEK and MIBK. MEK is methyl ethyl ketone and MIBK is methyl isobutyl ketone. So these are the two solvent that is used for the extraction of oil, soft wax and hard wax out of the slack wax. Now talking about the more detail of this solvent deoiling process, into this slide the steps are explained with point wise. You can see these points. The main process steps involves are the waxy feeds. First, the waxy feed cooled by the passes through a double pipe chiller to crystallize the hard wax portion. Once the hard wax portion is crystallized, then the chiller portion is equipped with scraper blade to keep valve free of the wax crystal. And next step, we have the volatile solvent is added to dissolve the oil and soft wax component, thereby maintaining a pumpable slurry of hard wax crystal. And in third step, the rotary vacuum filter separates hard wax crystal from the slurry and bulk of the liquid retained in the filter cake, and that is displayed by application of solvent wash. And because the oil separation is incomplete, more solvent is added. The renewed slurry sent to the second rotary filter, and solvent is expelled separately from the wax cake and filtrate by the heating the steam stripping. And solvent in the final step, the solvent is desired before reuse of fresh feed. And now the process variables. So the process variables, you can see these 2 points in the process variables. The first one is de-oiling temperature and second one is solvent to feed ratio. So de-oiling temperature result in a product of lower oil content, but wax yield is adversely affected. And solvent to feed ratio is higher solvent to feed ratio. The possible gains in degree of refinement will be weighted against the increase of solvent losses. Now the quality control of the petroleum waxes. So into this we will come to know about the properties of the petroleum that will be tested for the purpose of quality control. So you can see the test associated with waxy nature of the petroleum product. So these are the properties: cloud and power point. So below the cloud point, the petroleum product release their wax component. So whenever the oil comes to the cloud point, it will release their wax content and thus forming a cloudy layer above the liquid fuel. It will form a cloudy layer on the liquid fuel. So similarly, pour point is measure of waxy nature of the crude. So pour point is basically a minimum temperature at which the wax will form from the petroleum product. So this is a uh, this property is a measure of waxy nature of the uh, oil. So it tells you that the oil is how much waxy. And second is melting and settling point. So melting and settling point, you can see the point at which the temperature remains within a range of 0.1 degree centigrade for 1 minute is taken as the setting point. And second is congealing point. Congealing point is basically when the wax cool down, at which temperature it becomes hard. So congealing point of petroleum is determined by applying the drop of molten wax to a thermometer bulb and noting the temperature at which it congeals, at which it becomes hard, and when the thermometer rotates under a standard cooling condition. And third point is the drop melting point of wax, that is the temperature of wax when a drop of sample falls from the bulb of thermometer when heated under the standard heating condition. So further we will continue in the next slide. Thank you.